Hey everybody! So Sabrina and I are getting ready to leave the East Coast. It's been either raining or snowing almost every day here. But it's been damp, it's been cold, and we are going to go do some dry camping or boondocking, depending on what term you would like to use. I think we're actually doing a little bit of both over in the West Coast. If you've been following us for a little bit, you know that boondocking, dry camping, all those things are really not our preference. We certainly prefer to be at campgrounds with full hookups. We actually feel like when we're at a campground with the full hookups, there's no difference than being back in our apartment or a condo or anything else. It's RVing that way is pretty simple, I guess you could say. So you might be wondering, why don't we like the dry camping? The average American uses 80 gallons of water per day. Our Vista has a decent sized fresh water tank. We can hold 70 gallons of fresh water. But split that between the two of us, you're now down to 35 gallons, and you cannot use those 35 gallons in a day. You have to stretch those 35 gallons apiece out for your duration of your trip normally when you're dry camping. In our instance, we are going to dry camp for 7 days at a time, and then we're going to move and we'll be at a campground, and then we're going to be 7 days again dry camping. So we got to do our best to make 35 gallons apiece of fresh water to stretch those 7 days. When we are doing this, can we do it? Of course. But what's on our mind the entire time is, when are we going to run out of water? And for us personally, it just kind of cuts into our fun time. It's just, you got to be mentally thinking about water all the time, and that doesn't become fun for us. So now you might be asking, well, then why are you doing it? Two reasons. One is that we're going with some friends, and we're going to be meeting friends out who are dry camping. And we think that's one of the best things about the RV lifestyle is, meeting up with new people, meeting up with our old friends as well, and hanging out with them. And if they're dry camping, then I guess we can too. So we're meeting up with RJ Adventures, Nomadic Native, Roman Remodelers. And if you guys know any of those guys, you know that they are like professional boondockers, dry campers. They are not like Sabrina and I. They prefer it, I believe. I think they really enjoy it. It's fun. It's fun for them. But if they can do it, then I guess we can too. But for us to do it, we need to not only get ourselves mentally prepared, we need to physically get our RV prepared for it. So some of the things that we have done: we purchased a 21-gallon external holding tank, I guess you could call it, from a company called Rhino. Rhino is pretty popular in the RV world. I saw this online, 21-gallon holding tank, and I liked everything about it when I looked at it. I thought it looked pretty sturdy, and it's got big wheels. And if you gotta move wastewater around, I guess you want something sturdy and easy to use. I don't know. Just saying this is making me feel sort of ways. I don't know. But had good reviews, so we purchased it, and hopefully it works out. Maybe I should mention that we're not being sponsored by Rhino. Rhino doesn't know who we are, and I don't think they care if we bought their stuff or not. Rhino's a pretty big company, I believe. I believe Camco owns Rhino or something like that. So I bought that, and the thinking behind it is, so when we fill up our holding tanks, and our Class A actually has generous holding tanks for being a small Class A. We have like 96 gallons of holding tank. But still, when it fills up, and then you're done. It doesn't matter how much water you can hold or how much water you add or anything like that. Once your holding tanks are full, you're done. So what we'll be able to do with the external holding tank is similar to dumping the water into a dump station. It'll just dump into this holding tank, this external holding tank. We'll fill it up, and then we'll be able to transport it to a real sani station or dump station, whatever you want to call them, and empty it. And we'll be able to do that at about 20 gallons at a time. And what it'll do for us is just a little bit more peace of mind that we know, all right, if our tanks do become full or start to get full, at least we have an option to empty them, and we don't have to worry about them too much. Something else that we did is we actually purchased these last year, were 2 6-gallon freshwater containers. And all we'll do is we'll just fill these up with fresh water before we leave on the trip, and it'll give us an extra 12 gallons. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but every little bit helps. If we use the 12 gallons, I can always throw the containers in the car. We have a tow car. Drive off to somewhere that has fresh water, refill them, bring them back to the RV, and pour it back into the RV. And the reason why we're able to do this is because we have what's considered a gravity-filled tank in our RV. It allows us to just let gravity do the work. You pick up the container and pour the water into a nozzle on the side of the RV. Gravity does the work and fills our fresh water tank. The advantage is that you don't need a pressurized spigot, you know, like you would have at a campground or somebody's home or anything like that. It's just literally gravity filled. So once it's in your fresh water tank, the pump gets it to your faucets, gets it to your shower, and things like that. And then you just have to be very careful of how much you use at a time, because like I said, you're either limited or you got to do several trips back and forth, finding the fresh water, filling up these tanks, bringing it back to the RV. You get the idea. Something else I did is I changed the oil in our generator. I wanted to make sure that the generator was all set to go. Sabrina and I don't do boondocking or dry camping all that often. Therefore, we don't have solar up on the roof or anything like that. So we rely on our generator to produce the power we need to charge our house batteries. We have two, I believe they're Group 24 house batteries. And what we do is you run your generator, charge up your house batteries, then we shut off the generator, and we live off of the house batteries for as long as we can. That varies depending on what we're running. So we have a 1,000 watt inverter, and we have our two house batteries, and between the two things, we can run our TVs, we can run the ceiling fans, our lights, water pump runs off of the batteries. I believe that's everything. And then we have a 18-gallon propane tank on board that runs our stove. It's used for our water heater, and the propane is also used for our furnace to give us heat. That gives us pretty much everything that we need. The only things that we cannot run when we're not plugged in and we're not running the generator are the microwave and our AC unit. If we want to run either one of those two things, we have to turn our generator on. There's no way around it for us. Propane also does our oven as well as our stovetop, so we don't necessarily need the microwave. Depending on where we are, we might need the AC unit. I'm also hoping to have a secret weapon for power on this trip, and I'll talk about that in the next episode. So I think that's it for now. I hope you follow along on this trip. We're going to hit 3 cities in Arizona, 1 city in Nevada, 2 cities in California, then we'll be headed back to the East Coast. So take care, safe travels. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you disliked it, you can give it a dislike. If you think somebody would find it useful, you can share it with them. But as always, we just appreciate you guys watching the videos and the comments and communicating with us. It always feels like you guys are along for the ride or part of the trip with us. We definitely enjoy it. So take care, everybody. Be good. All right. See ya.